Hello, it's me, Marshall Malone. I'm back. This is like my fourth attempt to try to live stream. I don't know what happened in my last stream. It just paused, like my computer froze up, and now I can't even find the video. Either it's still processing or something happened on YouTube's end. Um, really frustrating. Anyways, it's me, Marshall Malone. I am the creator behind Upside Down Creative Media, the main creator, I guess. Most of the content as of most of this year has been from quarantine creations, as I like to call them. I'm not quarantined. I don't have COVID. I haven't had it yet, unless I had it back in January or something before there were tests. I did get pretty sick in January. But anyways, the stream before was like 15 minutes long. I don't think I'm going to go that long. I'm going to actually pull up my stream to see if there's anybody actually watching. Looks like no viewers. We had viewers on the last one, and they're probably frustrated because it just disappeared as I was about to show something. So, what this video is for me to introduce myself as the creator behind Upside Down Creative Media, and maybe give a little backstory if you aren't familiar with our channel, if you're new, to kind of understand what you've subscribed to. We have never really set a goal here before. We just kind of always threw stuff against the wall to see if it stuck, to see if it would work. It's been kind of our mantra, not mantra, and I say our, it's me and one other person that have been behind this channel. Um, I think most of the people coming in are probably from the Paula White remix video, and it's a huge number of people that are coming in and subscribing, and I appreciate that. It's a huge thing. That's just one small part of what I'm trying to do with this channel. I don't really have like a. I had a vision when I started it. Like my original vision was, if this was back in 2013 when I started this channel. This isn't my first channel, but every channel I've started has been essentially the same kind of vision repeated, and it just uses different people, so different players are at the helm of this. And so if I go even further back to when I started YouTube, 2008, it really was me. I was a consumer of YouTube since it opened 2006, I believe. 2 years later, after the opening of, or the start of YouTube, I moved to Florida, and I met somebody that was making YouTube videos, and got started working with him. And he introduced me to a lot. I edited my first video probably 2007, 2008. Whenever I met him, soon after meeting him, started editing videos for him, and then appearing in his videos. In that same year, or maybe close to the year after, I started a channel called Tomfoolery Flicks with him, and it was our own little separate venture, me and him creating content together and trying to create this community of content creators, like pulling people together in our community to create content creators, or create a content community, I guess. He had a lot of cameras and all of that stuff. I had at the time only like a DSLR camera that didn't take video. I don't even remember the model. It was an old digital like SLR, had no video capabilities. And so if I shot anything back then, it was with like a point and shoot, like, I don't know, even a Sony like point and shoot camera. Yeah. So I have some stuff from back then. I think some of it was shot on like a P2 camera, like a broadcast camera that my friend at the time had, and then some of it was shot on like the camera that I had, like a cheap digital camera from that time, like the late 2000s. And it was my first attempt at writing sketches, performing in sketches. I was kind of doing all of it, writing, editing, and performing, and sometimes shooting. And I think, you look back on some of it, it's really silly, very early YouTube-esque. It wasn't a really, I don't really share it that often because it's kind of embarrassing, and a lot of it I've taken down because it's really embarrassing. Like I normally am all for like keeping your body of work out there and to show the progression. And even on this channel, I'm like struggling because there's stuff that's like getting comments that's like 4 years old. And like the other day, I saw like back-to-back comments on this video that I actually took down yesterday, because the comments were so negative. And normally negative comments don't bother me, but it's because it's on a subject that like I put the video out there and then like I've moved on. And it was about Vic Berger, who is a very big video editor now. But back in the day, like 2015, 2016, before he blew up, he and I, like, we weren't friends, but like we tweeted, I guess. And I think I got under his skin, and he blocked me, he blocked my partner, and he blocked like all of Upside Down Creative Media. So I made a video about that incident as a joke, hoping he would see it and see that I didn't take it very serious. But I guess it didn't matter. I mean, I was nothing. I'm nothing in his eyes, I guess. So I don't know. I look at that video and I'm like, it wasn't really being mean to him. And if anything, it was really making fun of myself, and it was really bad on purpose. But it like generated a lot of comments in the past like 6 months, and a lot of people are viewing it. So I was like, I don't really want this to represent this channel because it's starting to take off. It's not a negative like video. It's just that people worship him, and they worship Tim Heidecker, and they worship, that circle of comedians that are kind of the circle of creators, I guess, that are the helm of absurd comedy, which is what this channel started as. It was more of an anti-comedy attempt, I guess, to kind of, I don't know, like I've always kind of wanted to twist genres and make people guess at what I'm putting out there. And when I started the channel, like I said, my last channel kind of fizzled out. We didn't create that much content. It was kind of like a struggle to get anything made and coordinate with the people I was working with. And so I met Rob in 2013, got introduced to him weirdly by the old person that I was working with. He actually approached that person to work with him, and then that person didn't want to do anything after working with me for whatever reason. He wanted to go in a different direction, and so I started working with Rob, and we started Upside Down Creative Media. Originally, like I had like 4 or 5 other people pulled into it. Like I started creating graphics. I worked in a photo studio at the time, so I had like access to cameras, and we were taking pictures of all the members and creating this like image of like this brand image of like we're Upside Down Creative Media. And we had like, it wasn't that great, but it was also, it was also 7 years ago. And we were trying to build a brand. Quickly I realized the only dedicated person in that group was Rob. Everybody else was kind of flaky and didn't seem to be behind the vision. I think when they got involved, I see that we have a few different viewers, and if you're watching, I'm in the middle of telling a story of Upside Down Creative Media and how it started. So those people that were kind of connected to it dropped off, and then it just continued being me and Rob consistently, to the point where it just became hard to actually get anybody to work with us, because anytime we were anything like locally, when we put something out there, it was like, oh, that's those guys, like those 2 guys. And I think people maybe, I might be assuming, but I think they assumed that we didn't want to work with anybody else. Sometime in 2016, I finally started working with other people and created 60-second mocks. This was at the beginning of 2016. I had thought of this idea to create a parody of 60-second docs. Looks like a Christmas decoration just fell down. 60-second docs is basically a parody of 60-second mocks is a brand for brand, like format for format parody of 60-second docs. We created like 6 or 7 episodes, and I started working with people that weren't Rob, basically. So I started expanding out in the city and finding other actors, people that I'd met through the local filmmaking community and different like events that we were submitting our content to locally. And that started taking off. And then sometime like after our 6th episode, I noticed Comedy Central created mini mocks, which is a parody of 60-second docs. Same format, 1 minute long, and weird stories. The difference is theirs was better. I mean, if you look and compare my 12, 15, whatever episodes that I created to now what they still continue to create and produce those, what theirs turned into was something much better. So if you compare the two and you're like, well, Comedy Central's is better. Well, yeah, but they also have a budget. They're also getting paid. There's producers and editors and filmmakers. It's not like some guy in his room in his like little 8x5 like office like me trying to create a media empire. It's a whole team of people with hierarchies of people that are creating um, this content. And so when you have that level of resources, of course it's going to be better. And that goes to say for anything. I mean, it doesn't mean it's always going to be better. Now, you may strike gold, and I think that's been the problem. Is like I don't think I've ever struck gold with any of the content I've created. So I guess what I'm trying to wrap up and say without boring anybody is what Upside Down Creative Media is probably not what you think it is. If you came in through the Paula White remix video, we're not a channel like WTF Brawl that always produces those remixes. So if you like those remixes, please follow us because I will create more. Those kind of came out of a time where I can't do anything and I want to be creative. I can't shoot new footage. For a while, I can't remember when, but we were locked down as a city. Like nobody could go out. You couldn't go out. It was a 2 week or 3 week, maybe a month period where we had to stay in. And so that's when I started creating these videos. I find them stuff and I've always been really opposed to editing that style of video. It's kind of like, like what people like Vic Berger got famous for was downloading CNN and news like footage and editing it. And now, not to say it's not talented. He's not talented. And I've always said this in the past. He's extremely talented. But when people say Vic Berger's work, his body of work, it's really not his. If you look at it from the perspective of a content creator, it's partially his. Now, he manipulated things. It's kind of like what I used to call him the Kanye West of video editing. And that was a compliment, but also a joke because people used to rag on Kanye West for being like sampling and using like exclusively using other people's sounds. And so if you understand the very nature of content creation, the very source of it is the video or the audio. And like if you're not creating everything from scratch, it's truly not yours, and that's why like I've always been anti-meme because of that premise, based on the premise of I create the music, I create the video, I shoot it. Like I invested all of this money into this stuff. When I created this Upside Down Creative Media, I've spent like 20 grand in the past 8 years on equipment and web services and all this stuff. And when I see people launching their careers by downloading content from the internet and making really funny videos, it frustrates me because I didn't take that route. That's why I'm jealous. I will say it. I am jealous because I went in a route that was more of a pure like content creation route. Like I'm going to buy the cameras, I'm going to buy the equipment, I'm going to invest my time into all of this and try to be the best at all of this. And I'm clearly not. But if I started creating like music in 2000, like one. And so and that skill set kind of led me into naturally learning how to video edit because they're very similar in a lot of ways. And if I had just like used copyrighted material to create content, knowing that this was going to launch a career back in 2001 and just stuck with it, I would have been a master at it. But because I respected the process of filmmaking and sketch writing and all of this stuff, I wanted to do it all. And so when I see that, it's difficult. So that's why going back to what I was saying is like doing these remixes is not natural for me. It feels like I'm cheating. And when I see my channel growing, oh, hi, Erderwort1. I'm going to type. So when I see my channel growing because of these types of videos, it's a little concerning because I want people to like what I provide here. And so I'm not always going to be dropping remixes. However, I will continue to create them because I see the appeal to them. Personally, they're enjoyable for me because they help me edit. And the way I edited the Paula White video was unlike anything I've ever done. I actually edited in the music software. So, like, I normally have this weird way of doing it, and I thought about actually showing the process behind it to kind of give people insight into how I do it. But this last particular video I created in 3 different programs. I used Reaper, which is a digital audio workstation, which is how I create the music. But Reaper has the ability to view video, so I could pull in the audio source of Paula White and see the video. And therefore, when I'm creating the music, I'm able to sync everything up to the music. Whereas in the past, I would create the music, pull it into a video editor, try to edit to that, and stretch it in time. I mean, both ways work well, but I did it a different way this time. And then I added some After Effects in. If you see like the stuff that's going on around her, just kind of give it some layers and give the video consistency throughout. Whereas, sometimes you can watch certain remixes and they seem like they're just chopped up footage. This looks more, made it more uniform. So anyways, there is a lot, even though I'm using copyrighted footage, I'll never be able to monetize those videos. It's still enjoyable for me, and I will continue to create them, especially during quarantine, because it's the only way my channel is growing. However, don't be surprised if you see sketches popping up, if you see things popping up that are not in line with that, and feel free to comment. And this is a community that I wanted to create. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers just so I can activate certain things like monetization, partner status, all of that stuff that I previously had. Like I said, this channel's been around since 2013. We were partners at one point with YouTube, but they changed their partner program, I think in 2016 or something, and kicked us out of it because we're not big enough. And I think that's a flaw in their system, in the YouTube system, is that people associate subscriber count with content quality, and they don't take the time to dig into what we have to offer. That's what I'm going to do right now. Since we've got some viewers, I'm going to open up a web browser again. Hopefully my computer doesn't crash this time. So here we are. Oh, it's up here. Let me pull it down to this. So this is my website, Upside Down Creative, or it's udcmcomedy.com, and then I'm on /videos. But if you go to udcmcomedy.com, it will load up this. You can watch videos, and we also have a merch shop. I'll show you that later. Yeah, and like you can call this number. It won't reach me directly, but you can call and leave a message. I don't know why. I mostly have that there in case people shop the merch and they have issues. That way I can get with the fulfillment center and like take care of things. So here's the website. I designed this website myself to kind of mimic YouTube as much as possible. And so it's got all of basically all the videos. We've got the different categories over here. You can also browse like categories up here and go deeper. So these are just like the top level categories. And then up here, you can actually get in deeper and like more specific. So like with our web series, I was talking about 60-second mocks. This is 60-second mocks. And it's a whole like series, like 15 episodes of different characters like that I created with these people. And like I was saying, Comedy Central has mini mocks. Actually, I'll go on YouTube. I'm not going to play it. Okay. Let's go mini mocks. Let's type in mini mocks. And what's interesting is if you type in mini mocks, it comes up with all their stuff. If you type in 60-second mocks, comes up with our stuff. But also, what is this? Roblox? Is this Roblox? I don't know. Okay, so now it's actually populating the search properly, because it used to not populate search properly. I exposed that, and look, here we are. Gummy Animal Breeders, one of their first ones. I don't know if that's their first one or not. I can't remember what their first one was. Um, I wish I could find a playlist to see all of their mocks. Let me see. I really want to pull this up because I want to show the thing I'm talking about, how we created ours. Because I'll pull up ours. Mine actually has a playlist. So here's season one. This was March 30th, 2018. And then let's look up mini mocks. Actually, let me go into a new window. See if they have a playlist. Here we are, mini mocks. So here's, interestingly enough, we got mixed into somebody's homemade playlist about Comedy Central mini mocks. So they thought we were Comedy Central, and we're the first one on the playlist, which is very obviously a mistake. So we're really killing it on here. This, I don't think this is their first one. Their first one was something else. But as you can see, this is August 2nd. It is one of their first episodes. Let me see if I can type it. First episode. Oh, is this it? Well, what's funny is here's a sand sculptor, and look, he's wearing a bucket hat. So August 8th, 2018. Now that's funny, you know, he's making little, obviously weird ones. But our second episode was on the beach, guy wearing a bucket hat. He's a seashell collector. So April 23rd, 2018, August 8th. I don't know, it just seems kind of obvious visually, visual like similarities. I don't know. Um, this isn't their first. Let me see. First episode. I wish they'd organized it in a playlist. If I could remember, is it this one? I used to have a blog that outlined all of this to show like how we produced our first one and they produced their first ones. Now this got like Churdleys in it. See, like, and I like Churdleys. And so yeah, they have like way more resources. Is this one it? This isn't the first one. August. I believe their first one was in August, and I'm pretty sure that's correct. But I don't know which episode it is. And not that they copied the episodes, it's just that we had created one, two, three, four. By August, we had already had. That's June, July, July. So we created one in August 10th, and I think we took a break because we saw them come out with one, and I was like, wait a minute, they're doing the same thing. So we had 11 episodes by the time they put out their first episode, which is extremely frustrating. Now ours are very like, I've been told that I punch down a lot in my comedy, you know, and I understand that to a degree. But if you know me as a person, I'm not a mean person. So to see people say, or I've actually been told like to my face, like my comedy punches down on people that are less fortunate. And this whole series is kind of like, you know, we have a transabled boxer, and transableism is a real thing. It's very rare. But it's basically people that identify as people with no legs or no limbs, but they actually have limbs that work. So like they have working legs, but they identify with people that don't have legs. So it's kind of that, like the whole thing is like, we really thought about like disabled. We thought about things that make people disabled and tried to make it funny. So without poking fun. So like, we thought, how funny would it be? And I don't see it here for some reason. This isn't all the episodes. This has got some missing on a website. But this one, for example, 911 or 911 dispatcher with pseudobulbar effect. Now, pseudobulbar effect is very serious. If you've seen like, you know, like if you go into the backstory of like Joker, he has PBA. It's a phenomenon that makes people laugh or cry uncontrollably, and it's not funny at all by itself. But what if somebody was like a 911 dispatcher? To me, it still just makes me laugh because I know it's not right. Um, but it's not that I'm making fun of people with PBA. It's that I'm imagining a world where this is a thing that happens. So I'm taking people's problems in life and putting them in situations that would never really work. Um, we have a man with a broken heart, which is really tough for me to do, but basically, uh, he's in love with like a little person, he calls it. Um, it was very difficult for me to do because I have kids, but the way we did it and justified it. Thanks, Erdowert. So sick of all the thieves. I'll get back to that in a second. Um, but yeah, he used a picture of his girlfriend when she was a kid, so it was kind of like weird. It was very difficult to do that one. This one was difficult to do. Justin Timberlake's biggest fan is about a backup dancer that ended up having a stroke or something, which disabled like the left side of his body, so he couldn't. It's really sad, but it's also the joke is that he's still passionate about dancing, so he dances in his wheelchair. Now, when I say that out loud, that's really messed up. Uh, Probably should have thought a second about that. Now, then you get into the ones where we're making fun of ourselves. This is internet actor. So it's basically Rob, the guy that you see in all these videos, making fun of himself. He's calling himself an internet actor. Um, Pro-life serial killer is a COVID-19. See, yep, here we are, rolling the losing dice. Yeah. So I don't know, I'll get back to that as well. I see your comment. This series was one of my favorite things. So if you like comedy that pushes boundaries, I recommend checking it out. It's called 60 Second Mock Season 1. Uh, Now, to address the comment about the thieves, this channel that I created is not big, obviously. I don't. We actually, if you want to watch, we have like a documentary that we shot starting last year in 2019. It's called Falling Together. Kind of documents. And this particular episode is called Parallel Thinking. It's the last episode that we did. Is about SNL stealing a sketch, and um, we we put it out there, and you can see some of the comments. So this person, Min Kwan Yen, without commenting on which Melissa seals the deal, which is SNL sketch, versus Sincerely Kevin, which is a sketch I shot in 2015, I found funnier. I think stealing is way too strong and provocative of a word to describe the connection between the two works. They share the same conceptual jump-off point. Protagonist interacting with invisible love interest, but in terms of everything else, tone, style, scripting, and jokes, they seem completely different to me. Okay, so if you've ever created content before, this person's acknowledging that they have the same jump off point. The protagonist interacting with invisible love interest. So this is like a fake documentary that we shot called Falling Together, where we address SNL stealing a sketch. So we can watch it. It's 3 minutes and 20. I'm not gonna make you watch it. You can watch it without watching it through this live stream. There was a sketch that we created in 2015 called Sincerely Kevin, which is about a man that falls in love with an invisible woman. That was created 5 years ago, and this was May. So in May, somewhere around May, SNL created a sketch called Melissa Seals the Deal, where Melissa's character falls in love, or not falls in love, goes on a date with an invisible man and seals the deal. So they sleep together. To me, that's the same exact core idea. And my argument for whether or not they stole it, I don't know if they stole it, but it is the same. And nobody even saw our short film from 5 years ago. But the protagonist interacting with an invisible love interest is the core idea. You take that away, and all of the jokes that they wrote or I wrote are not funny because it's all based on the premise that the person, you have to suspend your belief. You have to suspend your disbelief. I don't even know the right way to say that. You have to believe that the person is talking to an invisible person. And what we did with ours was actually, you kind of question, like this, it was shot as a short film, very dramatic tone. I mean, I'm not going to play it. You can go watch it. But it was just very odd that they had the same idea 5 years later. And in a way, well, I guess it's not really odd because ideas are, ideas are just ideas. Execution is more important. But when you're working on a creation, for somebody to argue that they're different because tone, style, scripting, and jokes, yeah, I mean, if I were to take that and rehash it 5 years after I created my original one, it would probably be much better. Anything I created in 2015 was probably garbage if I look back on it. Most of the stuff I look back on, I think most of the stuff I created is garbage over time. If it's out for a few days, I'm just like over it. Because I created and edited all that. Which episode of The Simpsons are UDCM and Melissa ripping off? So it's really hard to argue whether or not they stole. But then what's funny is a week later or sometime later, they came out with another sketch called Romantic Comedy Parody SNL. Oh, it was during quarantine though. Here it is. Rom-com trailer, right? This is a joke. This is a guy that falls in love or doesn't fall in love with himself, but he's quarantining. The joke essentially is that he's taking care of himself with his hand. That is the big joke, right? That was created, let's look at the date, the timestamp on that. 6 months ago, right? So similar to that, we also created, I have to go back and go to sort by oldest because it's all old stuff. So similar to that, we created Paul's Palm, right? I'll just play the video. I won't play the sound if it'll actually work. Paul's Palm is about a guy that falls in love with his hand. We released it on the day before Valentine's Day, right? So there's significance to knowing that. So you see, it's like his hand, he's kissing his hand and talking to his hand, all of that stuff. All right, that's me 5 or 6 years ago. Look pretty much the same. So anyways, we shot that on green screen in various different ways. SNL rom-com. That's me. So SNL did this, and oh, how weird! It's a hand. How weird! You guys just witnessed that. They're listening. They know I'm talking about hands. So now, obviously, shot way better. Has that B-roll at the beginning, and now this was shot on a cell phone. It looks like. What's weird about this? And I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get copyright strikes. So he's talking to himself. Different, very different, very different. But the hand right there. So that joke right there is kind of the jump off point of, oh, it's his hand. It's his hand. So you see him holding his hand, very similar. But what gets me is coming this Valentine's Day, and they released this in May. Why coming this Valentine's Day? The core joke that I'm claiming they copied is this masturbation joke. All right, it's essentially the same joke, and it's in a rom-com trailer, which is exactly what this is. This is a rom-com trailer. The joke is he is in love with his hand, and now we stretch that same joke out through the whole thing. I can play this for you. It's 1 minute and 28 seconds long, but I don't I don't want to waste your time. If you're actually watching, thank you for sticking on, because I don't even know how far I've gone off in so many tangents. Um, uh, you just switch back and forth. It's just very, you know, eh. So this all happened during quarantine, right? So we're talking. These are old ideas from like 6 years ago, and we've made it very clear that we want to be on SNL. I want to write for SNL. I want to work for SNL. I want to produce. That's what I want to do. Like I work for a local television station right now. My first day is actually tomorrow. I'm starting a new job, and I want to do that. But I also would like to like work in entertainment. And when I see these similar ideas making it and getting, this only got 600,000 views because it wasn't funny. But then we get, 600 views in 6 years. It's frustrating. So to go further on this story, we put out this past year in 2019, we started a live stream cooking show, which really was not a cooking show at all. The whole thing is a joke. There's one episode where he tries taking, let me find it. It's called Rob's Kitchen. So it's this. So he cooks Chinese food. He makes Chinese food. So it's how to make Chinese food, but the doorbell rings and then somebody brings Chinese food and he shows the Chinese food. That's how you make Chinese food. On this one, it's how to bake cookies. It's a long live stream of him basically making cookies. It's very trippy because as you can see in this left image, he's outside of his apartment. He apparently is drinking ayahuasca tea, which you reveal later. He goes on this major trip, but when he puts the cookies on the pan, he puts it in the packaging, like just drops it on the pan, throws it in the oven, and then when they come out, they're made. So it's kind of like we did this like little visual thing. If you actually hung on to it, it's a very weird live stream. Like we just set out to kind of just create as we went. Like the first one is absolutely horrible. We were just like learning how to live stream with the equipment that we had. So we didn't really know what we were doing. But the last episode, how to make Mexican food, is kind of bleeds into our documentary. So like there's this whole thing, we released this little montage to kind of promote it because it didn't get many views. And we were talking about how SNL had copied off of us, or we felt like they copied off of us. And we were we were texting back and forth, and Rob says, well, hopefully they don't come out with a cooking show because I just released this video. And that weekend on SNL, they had, let me see. I wish I knew a faster way to do this. SNL cooking quarantine. So it was like everything was quarantine, Quarantine cooking, SNL. May 4th, 2020. May 1st, 2020. So you have to understand, I put this video out. Rob and I had a conversation on the second or third, maybe the third, about how SNL has been copying us. And on May 4th, they published this, Quarantine Cooking. And it's not that I didn't even watch this. I'm pretty sure it's different. But it's the fact that we were talking to each other, and Rob literally says, and if I had my phone on me, I could probably pull up the text and find it. He says, I hope they don't come out with a cooking show, or maybe they'll come out with a cooking show. And then they did. Like, that was very bizarre. So we kind of realized, like, okay, they're not copying off of us, but there's just some kind of, like, parallel thinking going on. We tried to figure out who the writers were for these sketches to see if they followed us on YouTube or any of these platforms. We couldn't really. I started following some people that I thought it might be, but I don't think they're copying off of us. I just think the ideas are running slim during quarantine, and I don't know. My partner, I think he believes that I think he believes a little harder that we're being copied off of. I just don't. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I don't know. Also, I really want to work in the industry, so I don't want to be like accusing people that they're stealing off of us if we have no hard evidence. It's just when you look at all of that and you see the play of the events, it becomes very obvious that something is in the air, I guess. So anyways, I have been streaming for a very long time. Let me pull up my 40 minutes. Wow. I did not think I was going to stream this long, but it's, I'm ranting. And it's all good stuff. Thank you for subscribing. I see you out there, Erderwert1 and Rolls the Losing Dice. I'm going to actually see if I have access to the community section of YouTube. I want to get recommendations. Send me links to maybe funny videos that you'd like to remix, because I'm going to continue doing those. I actually just did one. I wonder if I can pull it up. Let me try pulling it up. I'm going to let that load. So this is probably going to take a while. So I created this, and you can see there's this old video from like 1946, and I'm going to actually see if I can play this. I don't know if it'll play the music or not. Let's see. So I recreated, all right, you hear that. Let me see if that's coming in through OBS. It's not playing it. Let me, preferences, audio device. Let's try changing it to this. Or wave out. Ah, there we go. Make sure I'm not monitoring this advanced stuff. Monitor off. Okay, I just don't want it. All right, so you'll be able to hear this. I don't know why it's so loud all of a sudden. So I've been experimenting. I actually published this, but I'm gonna play it on the live stream just to kind of share it. But I'm gonna rework it. It needs to be reworked. So let me mute this track. Oh. Okay, so this is the track that needs to be. Let me see. So it sounds like crap. So it's an original recording. Sounds like crap, It just makes me laugh. This is old footage from 1946. Anyways, I stopped it there. So there's another rap part right here. The problem I'm having is, obviously it sounds like garbage at the beginning. Let me get back into it. So the problem I'm having with releasing that is I want it to sound better. I found another audio source of that particular song. So that song was like released in the 40s. The video footage was like taped in the 40s. That's a live taping of them, and it sounds really, really bad. And that's because back then, I don't even think I'm pretty sure, I mean, I know they recorded on film, audio and video separately. And so there's like, if you looked at the way I was editing that, it was like stretching, because the timing goes off throughout. Like, it's very subtle, but it's enough to knock it out of time. So I'm looking for video footage like that. If you see anything out there that could be remixed into a song, Obviously, that one has a lot of work to do. I've got to figure out how to either clean up the audio or, like, I don't know. I got to figure something out. It sounds crappy to me. But anyways, I'm looking for more stuff like that. And obviously, if you see any good Kenneth Copeland, Paula White stuff, I've been looking at their channels every day to try to get a grip on. Oops, sorry. Oops. To get a grip on potential new remixes, current events. You know, I've done some Trump remixes in the past. Let me pull them up. So if you go to my website, you can actually go to the videos and go to edits and remixes, and it pulls up all the edits and remixes. I've got Jesse Duplantis here, and I've got It Is What It Is, the non-WTF Bra version, which I thought was funny because, you know, people were telling me that I was copying off of WTF Bra, which he comments on. He actually commented on this one as well. Like, he comments on our videos, so it's not like I'm like getting away with anything. I'm not copying off of him. It's like when somebody says you copy off of somebody, you know, and I know I just talked about SNL copying off of me, but when somebody says that, you know, this is a format of art, I guess. So, but yeah, I've got all of these. I've got another Kenneth. I've got 3 different Kenneth Copeland ones. This was the first Kenneth Copeland one, Wind of God. Executing Judgment, COVID-19 Viral Remix, and then Yeah, Get Up. Those 3 are Kenneth Copeland. And I've got the Trump Task Force, Chinese Virus Kung Flu Edition, which is another Trump remix. Try to load up.
Thank you very much. I would like to begin.
Trump's very hard to remix. His voice is so breathy.
Chinese virus.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
Comes from China. That's why.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
Comes from China. That's why. I call it the unseen enemy. So it spreads violently. It's a very contagious, very, very contagious virus. There's going to be a comeback very, very quickly. As soon as this is solved, and it will be solved, we will win.
Anyways, so yeah, I've got that one. First one I did. So I did video remixes before. This was actually shared by Comedy Central back in 2015. So the Shia LaBeouf thing.
Today on UDCM Shopping Network, special guest Shia LaBeouf stops by to talk about something very important.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams.
See if it's still up there.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just do it!
So they actually shared
Make
it.
Your dreams come true! Just
To promote a show, promoting a show that I really liked called Big Time in Hollywood, Florida. I just created this it was like happening at the same time. So like Shia LaBeouf's green screen stuff was like blowing up. And I also did this one as well. Another homage to Big Time in Hollywood, Florida. Put Shia in a C-SPAN. So like, I love that coughing.
I fear the absolute. I fear my absence and the absence of all things. Belief in living has been contorted into this shortened life of contempt and predetermined imprisonment. And I feel it all collapsing.
It's so stupid.
I can't fucking embrace it!
I don't know why it makes me laugh. Anyways, so yeah, I've done that. Kanye West. This was before COVID was like really blowing up, but no, this was actually the year before COVID. So what am I talking about? This was last year.
You know the rules, and so do I. We know each other.
You guys just got rickrolled. Anyways, so COVID remixes really started here. Coronavirus remix. This is the first one, And I saw this footage, and I was just like, oh, it's too good.
Several parents rushed to Treadwell, pulling their kids out of school. They were worried that their kids might get sick. Many wiped their kids down, and some even sprayed them with disinfectant spray. Parents with children at Treadwell Middle and elementary schools are not playing around.
And don't nobody want their child to be sick. Too life is bad. And don't nobody want to take that virus to their house. Too life is bad. My children came to lose. My children came to lose. And don't nobody want their child to be sick. Too life is bad. And don't nobody want to take that virus to their house. Too life is bad. My children came to lose. My children came to lose.
Anyways, yeah, you can go back and watch that one. Then I did one with Cardi B on it, yelling coronavirus. So, yeah, those got, you know, like 10, 15,000 views or something. That's when I was like, okay, I can do these remixes. And then Wind of God came, and blew up for me. I mean, blowing up for me is, you know, I get 1,000 views, I'm happy. But this one ended up getting over 100, and I think it's still getting views. But when you look at the scope, you know, and the timing, I was one of the first people to release one. You know, a WTF Bro obviously was first. I think I was maybe second or third. And I only got 100,000 compared to like millions. If you look at Wind of God remixes out there and the timing, I mean, you don't even see us in search down here, but you've got all of the WTF Bras, which rightfully so. I think they deserve it. This was not the first one. I actually released 2 of them. This was the second version, and I decided to make an extended version. But you look, this one has over 500,000 views, and
Almighty, strong, south wind, heat, burn this thing, in the name of Jesus, Satan, you bow.
so it's not even, it's coming up under remix. It's got 5 times the view as me. But it just, you know, YouTube's search algorithm doesn't make sense to me. And there's here I go on another tangent. YouTube is very difficult on small creators and people that may do content that I would say is not advertiser friendly. And I think that's what happened to our channel earlier in our start, was like they identified us as non-advertiser friendly content. For example, Human Blanket. It's probably one of my favorite things I ever created. You type in Human Blanket, nothing from my channel comes up. Human Blanket. Now, I don't know if quotes work anymore. Exact match. Still no different. Oh, there we are. All the way down here. 4 years ago, created this.
The following is a paid advertisement sponsored by Upside Down Creative Media.
You want to keep warm when you're feeling chill, but you don't want to raise your heating bill. Blankets are okay, but they can slip and slide, and when you need to reach for something, your hands are trapped inside. Now, there's the Human Blanket, the blanket made from a real human. Human Blanket keeps you totally warm.
Anyways,
and gives
I can play that whole thing for you. But obviously, Human Blanket, like, that's what it is. It's Human Blanket. It's not, we're not trying to like get any other keywords other than Human Blanket, and we can't rank #1 for that term. Like, why? It's the most creative content out of all of this. It should be at the very top of search. What's going on, YouTube? And that's been an issue of mine for a long time. Videos that I create that I think are original or know that are original. I do my research, and still I can't get them to rank in YouTube. And I work in SEO. Like I spent 8 years in SEO, search engine optimization, so I know how search engines work. My video should be at the top based on the fact that, like, what is this? The Human Blanket. I mean, I haven't watched this, obviously. Interesting. I have to watch that. What is this? Human Blanket. Why is that down? Like, why is that in the second? And it's only got 48 views. It was released 11 months ago. Human Blanket. 28 views. I don't even see a date. Oh, Human Blanket must be a song. But still, it's like... intent is like everything. So when somebody's searching Human Blanket, I guess the intent... Now, if you type in Human Blanket meme... Oh, God. That's disgusting. We're still not popping up. And these are, 2 years old, 7 months old, 1 year ago, 3 months ago, 4. Like, that's a meme. This is the Human Blanket commercial is a meme. I mean, maybe I put meme in there, but I don't want to. So it's just discouraging when you see these trends and these things. However, I'm not doing it for views. I'm not doing it for subscribers. I'm not doing it for money. Obviously, I wouldn't have been doing it for 12 years without getting paid or any recognition. It's just something I enjoy doing. And I will continue to do it. So anyways, I'm going to sign off. I hear my kids running the water in the bathroom here, and I'm going to go check and see if it's overflowed yet. So I will be logging off now. Appreciate the people that did view this. Looks like we've had steady like one viewer. It could be me. I don't know. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Send me any ideas that you might have or any kind of videos that you'd like to see remixed, and keep an eye on for the next one. I'll be releasing one shortly. I know the one that I previewed earlier, that the remix of the 1940s content, I'm trying to think of a way to edit that and make it more interesting. So I got to play around with that, and I will be looking for more Kenneth Copeland content, maybe scouring the net for some, political stuff, something that's relevant. I've been kind of staying away from news, but my life will be news starting tomorrow because I start a new job. So anyways, I'm hopping off here. I appreciate the watching. Thanks for subscribing, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. Thanks for the support.